Aloha everybody, Ryan K. Hugh, business attorney here in Honolulu, Hawaii. I hope you're staying safe, warm, and here in Honolulu, especially dry during this nonprofit November, but also rainy and windy. I also hope for November that you gave for Giving Tuesday. It's very important to help out, especially our 501c3s. It's a tough time economically for nonprofits. But anyway, today's post is about comparing and contrasting. And what better giving activity than talking about politicians and lobbying? Anyway, swipe through, but today's post will be brief and we'll talk a little bit about how that interacts with certain types of nonprofits. So today's brief post is to highlight the differences between primarily a 501c3 and a 501c6, but you can kind of categorize 501c4 and 501c5 with the C6. For certain activities, that is namely influencing or lobbying legislation and political campaign activities, 501c3s are effectively barred from doing that. There is minute, but you should kind of just treat them as not. And it kind of makes sense, right? 501c3s are charitable nonprofits. The expectation is when you and I, like for Giving Tuesday, donate to a 501c3, the expectation is that organization is using those funds to fund their charitable purpose, the reason why they exist for their tax exemption. For the other three types, 501c4, C5, and C6, they exist for a different reason and they don't have the same benefits that a 501c3 in that donor situation. So for 501c6s, which generally tend to be your chambers of commerce, and again, C4s are social welfare organizations and C5s are labor and agricultural organizations. But anyway, focusing on the chambers, they exist to benefit and kind of, well, not necessarily benefit, but also promote the activities of their membership. So, right, they don't get the same tax exemption when a donor donates money to a C6. They exist to improve business conditions for their members, so it makes sense that they can attempt to influence legislation. They can attempt to engage in political campaign activities. For these certain rules, there are very more specific nuances, and I urge you to kind of check on them because you also don't want to lose a C6's tax exemption status. But again, they're going to have a little bit freer reign in influencing legislation and political campaigns. I hope that helps. So the point of today's post to highlight the difference in lobbying and political campaign activities between a 501c3 and a 501c6 is just mainly to highlight if you're starting a nonprofit and then having to choose what tax exempt status you want to go for, this is one area that you would weigh the pros and cons, right? A 501c3, you're going to be a little bit more limited in your political and lobbying kind of activities, if not outright barred. In a 501c6, you're not going to get that donation kind of benefit where charitable nonprofits do in a 501c3. But again, for 501c6, you exist for the benefit of the membership. Anyway, I hope this content kind of helps, and if you have questions, feel free to ask, but check back for more Nonprofit November and future content from me, Ryan K. Hugh, as a business attorney. And feel free to ask me questions. I love collabs. Bye.